a video on my favourite cocktail called Negroni, which is a dead easy, straightforward cocktail of equal quantities of gin, Campari, and sweet vermouth. Now, there is all kinds of little variations on it. It's quite a strong cocktail, and I quite like it being rocket fuel. And I always think that you should have a strong gin in it. So we're talking. I like particularly like Tanqueray gin, export strength, which is 43.1% alcohol content, and I think that's about right. Anything you can go. There's a Tanqueray 10 which is slightly stronger, but just doesn't kind of work quite as well. And then it always has to be Campari, and then I normally just use a cheap generic supermarket vermouth. If I'm feeling a bit fancy, I use a more expensive vermouth, and I think my perfect Negroni is the generic vermouth, and always Campari and Tanqueray. What I have done in the past is I've mixed them beforehand and left them in the back of the cupboard, and it's kind of mellowed the flavour slightly. So I don't know. It's kind of an experiment. I like them to taste like rocket fuel, if I'm honest. Like that strong kind of kick. But if you let them sit in the cupboard and pre-mix for a week, it tends to mellow it. So I'm kind of interested to do a taste test of different ones, and we're gonna kind of see what it's like after a week and compare it to a proper Negroni, my classic Negroni that I like. I've got some other gin which is 40% volume. It's just that the Tanqueray is kind of expensive, and the expensive vermouth is expensive, and I wonder if I can get a better, a used cheaper gin and cheaper vermouth, or I have to use these type of things. So it's kind of an experiment, and also now and again I like it with a little bit of a twist, and I like a Mezcal Negroni, which is instead of gin, it's Mezcal. So we're going to mix a few of these up and put them in the back of the cupboard for a week and see how they taste. So I've kind of worked out what I'm going to do. There has to be Campari in every one, so that's pretty straightforward. So I've got 4 jars. I've got my measurer. So equal quantity of Campari in each. I should have put this in beforehand. I didn't. So Campari in 1. I'm just curious, and if I'm something that I just think I'd like to absolutely nail my recipe for Negroni. So purely self-indulgent this. I'm pretty much of the understanding and feeling that, you know, how you like your Negroni is entirely up to you. Different people have it in slightly different ratios, but that's fine. Different gins, all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one of these. It's going to be made with a Mezcal. I'm going to see what that's been like after a week. It's quite smoky as Mezcal, so that's going to be kind of interesting. That's kind of see if it mellows it. I'm going to use a cheaper gin and see if it makes a difference, and then we're going to use the better quality vermouth as well. So next we're doing 2 with the Tanqueray, so that'll be fine. It's not particularly a rigid experiment, this. Alright, so those are the 2 Tanqueray ones. I really need to label these, otherwise we're going to go wrong. So I have worked out what I'm going to do. That's another label there. So this one's going to be A, and this is going to be Tanqueray, Campari, and a normal vermouth. And this one's B. This is the Tanqueray, the Campari, and the more expensive vermouth. This one's going to be C, which is going to be the old Tom gin, which is slightly less alcohol, Campari, and a normal vermouth. And D is going to be the Mezcal Negroni. So can put this in. So the old Tom is going to be this, and then we can have a taste test next weekend and see what it tastes like. That's that. I should really wash it out in between each one, but I think the gin will have washed the taste of Campari out, so that's that. And then what we're going to do, so that's going to go in one. Okay, that's fine. Oh, I can smell that mezcal already. So that is the normal one. That's getting some normal in it. Yes. That was the old Tom. And this one's the mezcal. The mezcals, I'm not going to bother putting the fancy vermouth in the mezcal one, because I think the mezcal is quite powerful as it is. So, those are ready. That, and that. I don't lose my bit of paper. I can always look at the video. We don't need to mix them. And then we're only going to use the fancy vermouth in one of them. There we go. I find that particular Antica Formula vermouth really rich, and I don't often think it kind of works with the Negroni, but now and again I do like a little change. So those are those. They're going to sit in the cupboard for a week. Well, 6 days, 5 days, which will be long enough, and we'll see how they taste after that time. And if we can get away with using a dip, because Tanqueray can be quite expensive, see if we can get away with using a cheaper gin, or we have to use the better quality gin. Just an experiment, kind of a self-indulgent experiment. Let's be honest, most of the things I do are self-indulgent, but it's all about what I find interesting, isn't it, really? Let's be honest. Okay, so that's it. We'll be back in a week's time, which will be seconds for you because of editing and all that kind of stuff. Negroni taste test time. So it's 6 days later. It's not a week, it's 6 days, because I made them on Sunday night and it's Saturday night tonight. So they've been in the cupboard for 6 days. So A was the Tanqueray, the Campari, and the normal vermouth. B was the Tanqueray, the Campari, and the fancy vermouth. C was the Old Tom gin, the Campari, and the normal vermouth. And the fourth one, D, was a Mezcal, Campari, and normal vermouth. And there's a freshly made Negroni as a comparison. So, ice in each, and then a bit of orange in each, and we'll see how we go. So, that's my regular Negroni that I have on a regular basis. Not regular, but you know, it's my preferred Negroni, and that's that one. That's fresh. So my fresh Negroni is Tanqueray, Campari, and the cheap normal supermarket vermouth. So this is the aged one. Yeah, kind of lost that rocket fuel that you get with a fresh Negroni. Yeah, I prefer fresh Negroni so far. So this is the fancy vermouth. Okay. That one improves with a bit of age. Yeah, that's nicer with a bit of age, is that one. The better quality of vermouth, that vermouth, however you pronounce it. I'm rubbish at pronouncing things, even in my own language. Yeah, it can be a little bit rich when you use that, but the aging just mellows it slightly. So then this is the Old Tom, so this is the less alcohol gin, and the Campari and the normal vermouth. Yeah, it just tastes watered down. It just tastes watered down. Does that one? It's not bad. Give it another taste. Do you know, it's all right, but I just, if someone gave me it, I'd go, thank you very much. I wouldn't spit it back in the face or go, no thank you, it's made with a lesser gin. I'd be grateful, but still prefer the Tanqueray. And then the Mezcal one, which is Mezcal, it's a really smoky Mezcal is this one. So we'll see what's happened with the aging. It's still really smoky. It's still really smoky. I think I prefer it with tequila rather than Mezcal. I think, yeah. So I think there's no need for pre-mixing unless I'm gonna use the fancy Vermouth. I think. Let's go again. Do you know, it's just more of a refined drink if you age it. But I like the rocket fuel aspect of the fresh Negroni. So yeah, I'm kind of right in the way I make it. Try that one again. Yeah, that one benefits from being aged. That one benefits from being aged. The better quality of vermouth works better if it's been in a bottle pre-mixed for a week. I think the Tanqueray loses if it's mellowed, because I like the rocket fuel, kind of that pow of it, and the lesser alcohol content gin just tastes watered down, like it's been in the glass for too long, like the ice has melted too much. Yeah. That's my theory on that's my feeling on that one. I thought I could get away with buying a cheaper gin if there was some way that I could, because it's not always on special offer in the supermarket. So yeah, and then the Mezcal, it's all right, but I think I prefer it made with tequila. Yeah, that's it. So it's decided. The voting is in, and I prefer the straight Negroni. And if I'm going to treat myself to fancy vermouth, I'm going to pre-mix it. And it will take on a whole new kind of flavour. Yes, there we go. Negronis, 4 different ways, and I was right all along. Who would have guessed it? It's nice to be right for a change. I failed at a video today, and it was just But anyway, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Negronis. That's a lot of alcohol. Good job I'm not doing anything tomorrow.